Imagine waking up, checking your phone, and seeing your life savings drop by 50% before you've even had your morning coffee. Panic? Tears? Calling your mother? That's what 99% of investors do. They buy high, sell low, and cry in the fetal position. But then there's the 1%, the guys who look at a market crash and say, "Neat, pass the donuts." Today, I'm going to show you the exact portfolio used by billionaires to stay rich even when the economy is flushing itself down the toilet. It's not magic, it's not crypto, and it's definitely not that NFT of a monkey you bought. First, let's bust some myths that your broke uncle told you at Thanksgiving. Myth number 1, to make big money, you need to take big risks. Wrong. That's like saying to drive fast, you need to cut your brake lines. That's insane. Actually, the best investors in history are obsessed with not losing money. If you lose 50%, you need a 100% gain just to get back to zero. Do the math, genius. Myth number 2, when things get scary, cash is king. Listen, cash isn't king. Cash is that lazy employee who steals from the register slowly over time. It's called inflation. While you're sitting there safe in cash, your purchasing power is melting like ice cream in a sauna. We need a third option, a strategy that doesn't require you to be a psychic or a day trader glued to 12 monitors like some kind of deranged stock-watching prisoner. Let me tell you a story about Bob. Bob was a smart guy. In 2007, Bob had $100,000 in the S&P 500. He felt like a genius. Then 2008 hit. The market tanked. Bob's 100 grand turned into 60 grand. He panicked. He sold everything to save what was left. Oh, Bob. Classic Bob move. Because he sold, he locked in his losses. When the market roared back in 2009, Bob was sitting on the sidelines with his sad little pile of cash. Bob didn't lose money because the market crashed. Bob lost money because he had an emotional portfolio, not a mathematical one. Now look at this data. In 2008, when the S&P 500 dropped nearly 37%, the portfolio I'm about to show you was down, wait for it, only 3.9%. That's basically a rounding error. While everyone else was jumping out of windows, this portfolio just shrugged. And in 2020, when the pandemic hit, same story. It barely flinched. The problem isn't that you can't pick good stocks. The problem is that you are human. You have feelings, and feelings are terrible for your wallet. We need a portfolio that is robotically balanced to handle literally anything. Rain, shine, inflation, deflation, zombie apocalypse, it doesn't care. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the all-weather portfolio. It was popularized by Ray Dalio, a guy who manages more money than some entire countries have in their GDP. He wanted a portfolio that his kids could own that would survive any economic season. Inflation, deflation, boom or bust. Pay attention. Take a screenshot. Tattoo this on your forearm. Here is the allocation. 30% stocks, that's U.S. equities, for growth when the economy is good. 40% long-term treasuries, those are bonds. These act as a crash airbag. 15% intermediate-term bonds for extra safety. 7.5% gold, because sometimes money printing goes brrr. And 7.5% commodities, things like oil, corn, and beans. Inflation hedges. Here's why it works. It's like a seesaw. Usually when stocks crash because the world is ending, the sky is falling, and your portfolio is dying, everyone rushes to buy safe government bonds. So your stocks go down, but your bonds go up. They cancel each other out, and you stay stable. You're protected. I can hear you whining already. But Stewie, bonds pay nothing. And gold? Gold is just a shiny pet rock that wealthy people keep in vaults. Valid objection. Bonds can be boring, really boring. You're not getting rich off bond coupons. But remember 2022. Both stocks and bonds went down at the same time. It was rare, but it happened. That is why we have the 15% in gold and commodities. When inflation kills both stocks and bonds, the hard assets usually skyrocket. Another whine incoming. But doesn't this have lower returns than 100% stocks? Yes, slightly. Over 40 years, the S&P 500 might return 10% on average, and this might return 7 to 8%. But, and this is a big Kardashian-sized but, can you handle the 50% drops of the S&P 500? Most people cannot. They sell, they panic, they lock in losses. The all-weather portfolio gives you stock-like returns with checking account-like safety. It protects you from yourself. That's worth the 2% lower return. Third whine, rebalance? That sounds complicated and boring. It's not. Once a year, you check if your allocation drifted. If stocks went up to 35% of your portfolio, you sell 5% worth and buy more bonds. That's it. A 15-year-old could do it while playing Fortnite with one hand. So, how do you build this beast without calling Ray Dalio personally? You use simple ETFs. Grab a pen or open a note on your phone. Pay attention. 30% stocks by VTI, that's Vanguard Total Stock Market. 40% long-term bonds by TLT, that's iShares 20-plus year Treasury. 15% intermediate bonds by IEI, that's iShares 3 to 7 year Treasury. 7.5% gold by GLD or IAU. 7.5% commodities by GSG. You buy them in these proportions, and once a year, you rebalance. If stocks went up and gold went down, you sell some stocks and buy more gold to get back to the percentages. It's called selling high and buying low. You know, the thing you're supposed to do but never do. This portfolio isn't for gambling. This isn't for getting rich overnight. This is for sleeping at night. This is for knowing that no matter who is president, what virus is trending, or what the news is screaming about, your money is safe and it's growing. If you want to gamble, go to Vegas. If you want to build wealth that lasts generations, build an all-weather portfolio. And if you want to stop being part of the 99% who lose money, do me a favor right now. Destroy that subscribe button. Seriously, click it. I'm watching you. Don't let me down. And remember, this video is for educational purposes only, no recommendations. But think about it, you can never have too much knowledge, right? Maybe this video will save your portfolio.